for the first speech, I'd like to welcome the father of the bride, Sean.
Right, well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Gateshead. That's not bad. You know, recently I was watching a TV programme with Les Dawson, the late Les Dawson, who's a stand-up comedian who anyone my age or older will remember. And he did sort of routines in the 70s and 80s. He toured the clubs of England. And in the interview he was asked, what was the hardest audience, the toughest gig you ever played? Where was it? And he said the toughest one was a working men's club in Leeds, where if they liked you, they let you live. And I've been put a fear of God into me since I saw that a few weeks ago, because I thought, what if all northern audiences are like that? This is going to be a nightmare. But someone said to me, no, don't worry, Geordies are a friendly, welcoming bunch. The Geordie audience is a great audience. So let's try again and see if we get a more welcoming cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gateshead! I do feel a bit like those Dawsons, so we don't mind, just want to take it on. Christo's got me in this bloody fancy dress outfit here, so, it was his idea. I don't feel very comfortable in it, so if you don't mind, I'm going to just get into something I feel a bit more comfortable in. Hope said a few weeks ago, when she was at home one time, back in South, she said, oh, this awful nightmare, Dad, I had this really horrible nightmare. The whole wedding went wrong, everything went wrong. And Dad, you turned up to church in your gardening gear. And so, I resisted. I couldn't resist now, I'm afraid, sorry. You have to feel sorry for Hope though, because, you know, for Bride, this is meant to be the greatest day of her life, the happiest day. This has been the one that Hope has been dreading all her life. Because I keep a diary and write down little notes every night about stuff that's gone on in life. And inevitably, you know, you've got children, you write down funny things that they've done and they've said over the years. And so I've got this sort of dodgy dossier of what we call hopeisms. Things that she said, and every time she, from the age of like 3 upwards or whatever, I said, there's another one for the wedding speech, Hope. And so she said, and this is probably why it's taken so long to get married, quite frankly. But it's just like the dossier has got bigger and bigger. But you know, I just standing here now, can I really humiliate my daughter on a wedding day with all these speeches? No, I don't think I can. It's just not, it's not fair, really, is it? So I don't think I will. Which is a shame, because you won't hear about the time that I went to a restaurant in order to starter a soup and confuse the words gazpacho and Gestapo. You're not going to hear about that, I'm afraid. Or how for many, many years as a child, Hope truly believed that strawberry milkshake was produced by cows eating strawberries. I'm sorry if I've shattered any other illusions there. Nor will you hear about Hope's first encounter with public transport. She was about 15 or 16. I was at work one day, my phone rang, my mobile picked it up, 5 o'clock, busy time for me. It's Hope. Dad, help me. You're right, Hope. Yeah, I'm on a bus. How do I make it stop where I want to get off? I think it was a total story. I don't think we've been on public transport since. Or how Hope was packing down in Sussex to start university as a fresher. I've come up, you know, leaving home in Sussex, big adventure, back up in the north, many miles away from home. And Christo, Charles, and myself are trying to help her pack everything into the suitcases. And they were just so full, bulging. We said, look, we've got to rationalise here. So we started taking stuff out. To come up to Newcastle for uni in the winter, she had bikinis, at least 3 bottles of suntan lotion as well. And when I said to her, I got stern, fatherly, so you can't take all this. And she started a little bit welling up. It was an emotional time. And she said, I don't want to go, it's too far away. I only chose it because it had the Phoenix department store. Which I guess, you know, tells something that you all know how to know that well through, don't you? Talking of my diary, in fact I managed to find an entry for the first time that as a family we met Christo, which was Sunday, September 12th, 2010, just 6 days after their first date. Bizarrely, it was probably weird for him because I just had an operation on my nose that was in plaster, so it was probably a weird first impression for him, but this was our first impression of Christo. My diary entry genuinely reads, a morning of tidying and cleaning the house in preparation of the arrival for the boyfriend, Christo. He arrived at 1 p.m. prompt. He's a bit of a brain box. It's genuinely what I wrote, first off, genuinely, honestly. He's a bit of a brain box, studying maths and further maths, etc. at A-levels, and he wants to be a doctor, but actually he's very normal. I've got to write my diary on that. I don't know, actually quite humorous, but not show-offy. He's half Greek, but actually speaks without any hint of a Greek accent. And I went on to note here, how prescient is this? And I went on to a note, genuinely, my main concern is if they ever get married, and that's foreplanned, is his surname, which is pretty unpronounceable. And I said, never did I think there would be a more difficult surname than Patel Killick, which is how I said, poor Hopi, she's gone from the frying pan to the fire. There's another mention a couple of months later, another entry a couple of months later I want to mention, which was December the 2nd, 2010. There had been very, very heavy snow. It was a really big snowfall, and it closed Gatwick Airport, and I spent 3 days and nights away from home, up at the airport, snowed in up there, covering the story. It was total chaos. We live in the countryside, 3 miles outside Heathfield. Julie and Hope were the only ones at home at that time, and the main road was closed by the deep, deep snow. Julie ran out of milk for her tea. Now that is a crisis when you're on this Julie. Total crisis. But Christo was their hero. Christo was from the centre of Heathfield. He went to the shops in town, filled his rucksack with bottles of milk, and he hiked for hours and hours along the main road through knee-high snow. And he delivered the milk and everything else, and how wonderful that was. And from that moment, Christo became, to us, a Greek hero. And he became part of the family. And he's helped us all the more over the years to the point that, today I don't feel like I'm losing a daughter. I feel like, genuinely, I'm gaining a medical advisor, a tech support advisor, Excel spreadsheet consultant. Christo loves a spreadsheet. But when I look back to my diaries, I really just realised that Christo may have had an ulterior motive like that, because in my diary I noted that apparently the snow got worse and Christo got snowed in at our house and to spend a couple of nights at our house when I was away from home. So I don't know at this point. Christo's in the fruit because I've got a few more pages and he's got a spreadsheet for this wedding and it's probably already toilet paper. But anyway, there's one more entry I want to share with you now, basically. December the 21st, 2020. Just a few days after Christmas was cancelled, the pandemic, I'm sure you all remember that one. And it meant the kiddies couldn't come home to us down in Sussex and spend Christmas with us. And the diary entry for December the 21st, 2020 reads, I drove to town to hurriedly post Christmas gifts. Soon after I returned home, Julie and I had a phone call, a rather wonderful phone call from Christo, asking privately for our blessing, because he plans to propose to Hope on New Year's Eve. When he said that, Julie began to cry. How very traditional of him. Apparently Christo planned to propose earlier in the year, but all his ring money was spent on moving house. Bless, how exciting. It will also be a nice lift for Julie, Cathy and my folks during this awful time. So at that point in time we did have something lovely to celebrate. The world was falling apart. I have to say though, when Christo phoned to tell us that, my initial reaction was shock and horror, absolute horror, because I'd forgotten they weren't already married. So long. I just genuinely, they're like an old married couple. I just want to share that story with you because I think it typifies how Christo and Hope, wanted to do everything right for their wedding, and it also shows the sort of level of attention to detail in that. There's been no end of planning and preparation culminating in this event today. And didn't they do well? Yeah! They had help from family and friends, but they've organised pretty much all of it themselves, I have to say, from the service to the confetti to the catering and everything. So well done to them. And it's been a wonderful wedding up to now, of course. The church service was lovely, it looked lovely, everything's wonderful, everyone is decked out just fine. Hope looks gorgeous in that fantastic dress. I nearly did a double take when I saw her with earlier on. The brilliant bridesmaids look fantastic as well. And all the chaps are very dapper as well. She did do well with it, really. And I think you've done an amazing job. Well worth a round of applause, don't you think? It's a very proud day for us, for myself, Julie and Cathy, and Joe and brothers Alex and Charles and Becca too. A proud day for the grandparents, We've got Janet and Eddie, Grandma and Grandpa here as well. I can't see them. That's great. They mentioned it was early down. Christo's Granny and Jim are in Sussex, but they're sharing their love with you today as well, of course. And my mum too, of course, very much so, and proud that she's here as well. Hope you and Charlotte spent so many hours of your childhood with Nan and Grandad. So many special memories for you. Nan and Gar, we're so pleased for you both when you got engaged. Fortunately, my dad passed away last year, but he would be so proud of you today. And I'm sure he's up there watching us now, blessing and loving you from afar. Not afar, because to tell you what, he'd be pretty chuffed, he'd say, pretty chuffed, that you actually chose a wedding venue. It's the highest in the North East, just the closest to them. You've sort of taken it up to him, so bless you for that. Thank you very much. And all your family and friends here as well, so also pleased for you both. Mum and I love you very, very much. And we're so proud of everything you've achieved in your life. And, both as an individual and now with Christo as well, we're proud of him. And I wrote down just a few qualities I could think about you both. Caring, kind, thoughtful, helpful, supportive, amusing, amazing, and loving to everyone you know and to each other. Two wonderful people, one wonderful couple. And I hope you have very, 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 very much happiness together. To be honest, happy times to be times, unhappy times, difficult times, and I'm sure you'll be there for each other then, and that's when the test of a marriage really shows through when things aren't so good, and I know you'll be there for each other as you have been up to now. But today is certainly a happy time filled with love and joy, and I want to thank everyone, all of you here, for taking the time to share this special day. So finally, congratulations to you both. And now, please, will everyone be upstanding and join me in a toast to the happy couple, to Vic and Christo. Cheers. That's me done.
Words. Thank you very much, Sean, for such a beautiful speech. I'm in the unfortunate position of having to speak between two people who do it professionally, a journalist and a solicitor. Unfortunately, all my job has taught me to do is have bad handwriting, so I can't even rely on these notes. I'd like to start by thanking you all so much for being here on this day. When Hope and I were planning this wedding, what we really wanted was to have a room full of the people who we love and who have taught us what it means to be strong friends, family, and taught us everything we know about love. And I'm so grateful that we managed to get everyone in one place. Some of you have travelled a bit further than others. So Denmark, where's Switzerland? Some of you a bit less far. I think I could probably look into the living rooms of some of the people who live here from this view. But regardless of the distance, I'm just really grateful that you've all taken the time to come and spend a weekend in this beautiful city that we call our home. And we're so grateful that the weather has turned out so nice. Of course, as Sean mentioned, there are people who can't be with us today, some for happier reasons and some for sadder reasons. So one of the bridesmaids, Nell, and her husband Francis, have the very good excuse of having delivered a baby boy yesterday morning. My grandparents, Tanis and Jim, couldn't be here due to ill health. Hope's Gar, Jeff, couldn't be here as he passed away last year. Regardless of whether people are here in this room or not, they've been with us all day, and I think I'm really, really grateful that everyone's here. I'd like to say the next thank you to my mum. So my mum has taught me many, many, many things, and I think the most important of which is putting other people ahead of me, as she always has done for me and my brothers. The second most important thing about Mum is her ability to cook and feed a crowd. And I've no doubt that the early days of mine and Hope's relationship relied on the fact that if Hope came to see me, she knew she'd get a real cook by now. In the run-up to the wedding, we slept easily knowing that if all went to pot, given an hour, Mum would be able to rustle up dinner for 80 with some lemon cake for after. So thank you, Mum. Next, a thank you to Sean and Julie. I can finally call you my parents-in-law, and I've graduated from being a prospective son-in-law, as I have been for all these years. Over the years of being part of your family, I've learned many things about what it means to be a Killick. Your strong sense of family, the importance of tradition, and of history and of memories. And I'm really grateful that I've been part of that rich weave of life in Harrington Cottage. Undoubtedly, Hope gets some of her best traits from me. Don't laugh. Her close importance of family, her kindness and generosity, and also her love for interiors from Julie. There are, however, some traits I wish might have skipped a generation. And when I wrote this speech, I was going to talk about Hope's wonderful sense of timing, which she definitely has with her parents. But unfortunately, she only went and proved me wrong today. So thank you very much, Sean and Julie, for welcoming me to your family. Next, I'd like to thank the bridesmaids. So Nell, I've already mentioned, couldn't be here for a very good reason. But despite being heavily pregnant with plenty on her plate, she still managed to find time in her busy schedule to spend a Saturday in Harrogate with Hope, having brunch, having fizz, and trying on perfume, which apparently is a thing. So clearly very selfless. To Kate, who masterminded so much of one of Hope's 3 hen-dos, as well as the giant confetti operation that's currently strewn over the green at St George's Church. Kate was so keen to make sure that we got the most out of every flower. There is not a single hospital ward or GP practice in the Greater Tyneside area that has any flowers left. So thank you. And Abby, of course, thank you, Abby. Abby not only organised one of Hope's other hen-dos, but has made a real celebration of every time Hope has been back to visit Sussex. So thank you all. Next, I think I should thank Jamie. And it might be a bit risky to thank him before I've heard what he has to say about his speech. But I'm fairly confident that nothing can undo the past 2 decades of your support and friendship. It's been a source of great relief knowing that whatever's happening, Jamie's just at the other end of the phone, whether he's in Heathfield or in London, in Nottingham or in New Zealand. Jamie organised a fantastic stag weekend, a party of truly biblical proportions, and so I'm really, really grateful. And likewise to Ollie and to Joe, my groomsmen, for all of their help and support, not just for today, but also in the run-up to the wedding. The last person I'd like to hope. The last person I'd like to hope, of course, is my beautiful wife, Hope. Woo! Some of you may know that we met at Heathfield Community College. For those of you who visited, it's not the most inspiring of settings. I don't think Richard Curtis is going to set any rom-coms there anytime soon. But luckily, for the purposes of the narrative of this speech, we met in history class, so I can talk a bit about the history of our relationship. I mean, at this point in a group speech, it's traditional for the groom to start talking about how beautiful, wonderful, kind, generous his wife is, usually in the form of a pithy anecdote that might take 1 or 2 minutes. And I sat down and I thought, this is really hard. Not because there's nothing, but because there are just too many moments over the past 12 and a half years where Hope has showcased how kind, wonderful and generous she is. And after all, I don't really need to tell you all about all of these attributes. You know them. Most people in this room have been touched in some way by Hope's kindness, be that through school, university, work or family life. And she really shines a light on every person that she comes into contact with. And I'm really grateful for that. In the past 12 years that we've been together, we've gone from being, on my part at least, spotty students to now having more than my fair share of grey hairs. And through that, Hope has been a source of unwavering support. She's kind, she's generous, She shares a love of food with me, which is great. But it might have been helpful in the run-up to the wedding if one of us had some restraint. She's also managed to tolerate over a decade of awful puns from me, but I think she had lots of practice from her dad. So you might be listening to this and thinking, oh, he's just talked about how wonderful Hope is, and how long they've been together, and complained about timekeeping. Why did it take him so long to pop the question? I mean, you probably all know that Hope had a bit of an itchy finger. So let me take you back to 2020. As Sean said, we were in deepest, darkest lockdown, and my initial plans to propose in one of our favourite places in the Cheviot was cancelled because of the COVID rules. And so I decided to change tact and look somewhere closer to home. The week before Christmas, I left the house and sat in the car and called Sean and Julie and asked them for their blessing because I was planning on proposing to Hope on New Year's Eve. What Sean kindly didn't mention in his speech is that he said, "Are you planning on proposing to her on Christmas Day?" And I scoffed and said, "No, that would be so cliche. Hope would hate that." Only to find that's when Sean proposed to Julie. Nevertheless, we plowed on. So on New Year's Eve, we woke up nice and early, and I convinced Hope that we should go for a walk down to Chesmond Dean, a beautiful park near us, for sunrise, which luckily for Hope was quite late. Uncharacteristically, and despite several increasingly heavy hints, Hope decided that she didn't need to get showered, or do her hair, or do her makeup. I know, there are some shocked expressions in this room. And instead she just chuck on any old hoodie and pair of leggings. So anyway, we walked down and we got to the bridge that overlooks the waterfall in the Dean, and I got down on one knee and I asked Hope to marry me. She made me the happiest man by saying yes. And it was only on the walk back up towards our house to tell all our family that we realised the irony in Hope's outfit. What Hope had chucked on is a hoodie wearing the company that she works for, branding, which goes, "I am property." I thought that was a bit regressive. We're a modern relationship. I do all the laundry, and Hope's a far better driver than me. So I think we can do a bit better than that. I'd like to finish off, I'd like to echo back to the theme in the reading that Caroline read in the church. And ultimately, all of you have been part of our relationship at varying stages. And this has been something that we've been together for a long time, and this has been a real slow burner. But all of the memories that we've had, all of the plans that we've made, have involved, in some part, all of you. And I'm really hopeful that our future together will involve all of you. And I'd like to kickstart that by asking you to raise a glass to my beautiful wife, Hope. Thank you very much.
So I'll do my best to keep to time. We've only been waiting for 7 years, so I wouldn't want to hold anybody up. So Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, a very good evening to you on this very special occasion. It's lovely to see you at this beautiful venue on this beautiful day. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Jamie, and I'm Christo's best man today. So you may remember me from the church, and particularly the back of my head. Now Christo and I... Oh no, that's not going to work. Never mind. Christo and I are approaching nearly 20 years of friendship, and we first met when Christo moved from Greece to the little town of Heathfield and joined our Year 5 class at Crossenham C of E Primary School. So I remember very vividly when he joined, he introduced himself with characteristic confidence, a firm grip on the arm, and a confident stare, and we were off. Christo was ever the high achiever and was particularly keen to get stuck into completing the row of stickers on Miss Marlowe's chart. So we've been friends ever since. and together growing up and faced the challenges of the world and an ever-changing world. In technology, we've texted in T9, messaged on MSN, shouted on Skype, and gossiped in Google Wave. So even in preparation for this speech, I had the chance to look over some of our old MSNs. My messages with Christo, with an exclamation point instead of an I, trademark smiley face, and looked fondly on our regular meaningful exchanges of WUU2, question mark, and WUBU2, question mark. Now, we've also explored the world at large, from chasing down the 52 bus, working Waitrose, and hiking hills up and down the country. We've even taken on the world of fashion, determining our social standing by the length of our ties at school. We've even wrestled with the resurgence of skinny jeans, and even experimented with some questionable fringes, which I should clarify we look back on quite longingly now for. So if you are waiting for salacious or embarrassing details of an unruly youth, I'm afraid I can only disappoint you. The story of Dr. Christo Salifis, prefect, head boy, now specialist paediatrician and emerging global expert in job syndrome, has really made my job as a best man incredibly challenging. Even on Christo's stag do, it was hard not to find a story that didn't result in Christo ever reliably shepherding his drunken disciples away from danger, more than anything leading me to question what he sees in us as friends and the extent of blackmail he has on us for our future weddings. So I'll let you down in that tradition, and I won't be able to tell you the story of Christo enjoying the gyrating hips of a dancer from a Rocky Horror stage show, and that story shall remain untold. So instead, what I can offer you today is a story of another new beginning. Like many of you here today, I'm also delighted to say I've known our lovely bride Hope since she joined our little gang in Heathfield Sixth Form, but also as an upstanding member of the community and our local youth council. Of course, then clad only in the finest that Jack Wills had to offer. So I've been very lucky to have been around for Christo and Hope's relationship from the start, and so it's that story that I want to focus on today, and crucially sort of tell it from the most important perspective, mine. So if I can ask you please all to close your eyes, cast your mind back to 2010, imagine when the In-Betweeners were on TV, Justin Bieber's Baby is playing on the radio, and there's a faint burning smell as the promises made by Nick Clegg to generations of students are thrown onto the bonfire. We're at school, 17 years old, considering our first, in inverted commas, lad's holiday, itching to break free and spread our wings. The entire world was our oyster, and as our peers considered all-inclusive packages to Tenerife, Magaluf, Zante, Ibiza, we, the absolute lads that we are, decided in our collective wisdom to go camping in the Isle of Wight. Now, among our school friends, this trip would become infamous as the trip that would forge us as the individuals we are here today. Now, first, our good friend Joe, who delivered the beautiful reading earlier today, he learned that he could not trust us as far as he could throw us. Or more accurately, he could not trust us as far as his things could be thrown off the cliff edge from the campsite. Secondly, myself, I was the victim of a vicious and violent attack from an intruding hedgehog that not only saw fit to help itself to my Cocoa Pops, my only source of nutrition for the trip, but said hedgehog also had the temerity to defecate in my Cocoa Pops as well. Thirdly, and most importantly, however, was the tale of poor, suffering Christo and Hope, who were, much to our dismay, found huddling with only one blanket to share between them to shelter, from what we were told by them at least, was an unusually cold microclimate at their end of the group tent. Of course, only worried for the health of my poor shivering friends, I called Christo following our holiday to ensure he was recovering okay, and to ask if there was anything further that we should know about him and Hope. Christo protested there was no more to the story and sent me on my way. A little while later, I received a call back. A callback from a guilt-ridden Christo who could not live with a lie, he has just told me. Who confessed, in fact, as a group, we'd been hoodwinked, we'd been bamboozled, and it was not the cold that Hope and Christo had suffered from, but something else entirely. So notwithstanding our ill-fated for some lad's holiday, surrounded by the moonlight, the ocean breeze, Christo and Hope had shared an evening watching the stars and ignited a spark of hope in the darkness, which I should make clear is not a euphemism. So as is said by the great thinker of our time, Instagram quotes, love does not consist of gazing at each other, but looking outward together in the same direction. And the rest, as they say, is history, from almost subtle hand-holding under the table at school, to late nights driving around Sussex, and following each other to the ends of the earth. The north. Fast forward to the 30th December 2020, where when asked what plans Hope had for New Year's Eve, Christo told me, nothing, none at all. We received news of Christo and Hope's engagement the next day. Following a year of COVID metaphorically defecating our collective Cocoa Pops, this was a welcome salvation from 2020, that together with Christo's stirring Zoom reenactment of Hugh Grant in Love Actually. Hope and Christo, your relationship has been a source of strength for not only each other, but it's also been a safe harbour and a gift for so many of us in this room. We've eaten with you, drunk with you, played board games into the early hours with you. We have sought your counsel in the challenging times, and we've basked in the love that you've surrounded yourself with. We've been incredibly lucky to watch your relationship grow and your love blossom over the last 13 years. And in truth, as Sean said, you've both been an old married couple for far longer than the paperwork will ever show. You are our very own high school sweethearts, destined by the Isle of Wight stars all those years ago to be in love and gaze out and face the world and all its trials and tribulations together. So I want to say thank you to you both for sharing this day with us. As I'm sure it's the same for everyone, I couldn't feel more privileged to be here and to know the happiness you will share as you embark upon this beautiful new journey together. I love you both very much. And now I'd like to invite you, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to charge your glasses and join me in toasting the bride and groom. To the bride and groom.